What's up, party people? Keys Dan here, your man in the air chair, coming to you live in a living color from the Radio What Studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Smarter. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? DJLittleRock.com. Go ahead, I'll wait. DJLittleRock.com. Check availability, get a free price quote, and maybe you could have me at your next event. The people need to be entertained, and I like to provide such entertainment. And if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. For today, let's learn together on the program, What Makes You Smarter. Now, on with the show. Today on the program, Women's History Month. Women's History Month is a celebration of women's contributions to history, culture, and society, and has been observed annually in the month of March in the United States since 1987. The theme for 2020 was Valiant Women of the Vote. It paid homage to the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. The theme honors, quote, the brave women who fought to win suffrage rights for women, and for the women who continue to fight for voting rights of others, end quote. Women's History Month takes place in March. Why do we celebrate Women's History Month? Women's History Month is a dedicated month to reflect on the often overlooked contributions of women to United States history, from Abigail Adams to Susan B. Anthony, Sojourner Truth, Rosa Parks. The timeline of women's history milestones stretches back to the founding of the United States. The actual celebration of Women's History Month grew out of a week-long celebration of women's contributions to culture, history, and society, organized by the School District of Sonoma, California, in 1978. Presentations were given at dozens of schools. Hundreds of students participated in a, quote, Real Women, end quote, essay contest, and a parade was held in downtown Santa Rosa. Did you know, to coincide with Women's History Month 2011, the White House issued a 50-year progress report on the status of women in the United States. It found that younger women are now more likely than their male counterparts to hold a college degree, and that the number of men and women in the labor force has nearly equalized. A few years later, the idea had caught on within communities, school districts, and organizations across the country. In 1980, President Jimmy Carter issued the first presidential proclamation declaring the week of March 8th as National Women's History Week. The U.S. Congress followed suit the next year, passing a resolution establishing a national celebration. 6 years later, the National Women's History Project successfully petitioned Congress to expand the event to the entire month of March. International Women's Day. International Women's Day, a global celebration of the economic, political, and social achievements of women, took place for the first time on March 8, 1911. Many countries around the world celebrate the holiday with demonstrations, educational initiatives, and customs such as presenting women with gifts and flowers. The United Nations has sponsored International Women's Day since 1975, when adopting its resolution on the observance of International Women's Day. The United Nations General Assembly cited the following reasons. Quote, to recognize the fact that securing peace and social progress and the full enjoyment of human rights and fundamental freedoms require the active participation, equality, and development of women, and to acknowledge the contribution of women to the strengthening of international peace and security, end quote. This has been a little bit about Women's History Month. How do you celebrate women? This has been What Makes You Smarter. If you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. That's it for me. It's Keys Dan, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here. If you like what you hear, I encourage you to follow What Makes You Smarter on social media. Find it on Facebook at What Makes You Smarter, Instagram at What Makes You Smarter, Twitter at SmarterWhat, and YouTube, username Keys Dan. Leave What Makes You Smarter podcast a review and subscribe. Listen to What Makes You Smarter podcast on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Podcast Addict. My personal favorite, learn with me on my podcast, What Makes You Smarter. And if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Call 501-470-6386 and leave a message to set up a time for What Makes You Famous. Support What Makes You Smarter podcast using the PayPal, paypal.me/Keys Dan. Email info@radiowhat.com. What Makes You Smarter is a production of Keys Dan Enterprises Incorporated at keysdan.com. Thank you for listening.